Hey, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom, Arlene.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi, and Shabbat Shalom to all our Beit Sefer students and all our families from our community. Welcome to our Kabbalat Shabbat service. I'm sorry that Ron isn't here tonight, but we were able to find another guitar player. We were very lucky that she was available. So Rabbi Pollock is here to be our musical accompaniment as well as our storyteller tonight. And is there any song you'd like to begin our Kabbalat Shabbat service with, Rabbi?
Well, I thought we'd start with Hine Matov because it's good to be together. Hine Matov, u'monayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hine Matov, u'monayim sheverachim gam yachad. How good it is, how good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hinei matov u'manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hinei matov u'manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. Shalom aleichem, salam aleikum. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hinei matov u'manayim sheverachim gam yachad. Hinei matov u'manayim sheverachim gam yachad.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Toda rabah. And now I'd like everybody, as we light the candles, to allow that beautiful peace and shalom of Shabbat come into their very, very beings as we light the candles. And we bring the Spirit of God into our beings. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
So now we have begun our Shabbat services. And before we do our story, I thought, we all know how Shabbat begins. We light candles. At our dinner table, we say a blessing over a wine. We say the kiddush over the wine and the motzi over the bread. But I wonder if some of you realize there is a very special way to separate Shabbat from the rest of the week. And there is a service that we have at sunset on Saturday evenings at the end of Shabbat called Havdalah, which is to separate. And unlike the candles that I've just lit for Shabbat, the Havdalah candle is a little different. So since we do Havdalah with one of our classes on Saturday night, I thought I have the candle here. I'd like to share it with you. And I think you'll notice it's a little different than the candles I had just lit. First of all, it's only one. Secondly, it's usually multicolored and it has many, many wicks. And at the end of Shabbat, this candle is lit and there is a blessing over wine, but not one over the challah because it doesn't lead into a meal. It's actually a blessing over some spices, which we'll talk about next week. And this always reminds me when Rabbi was singing Hinei Matov, how good it is to be together. That's what, to me, the Havdalah candle is about. When we're all braided together, when we're all intertwined as a community, as a family, and when we light the flame is so much brighter. It's so much stronger when we're all together as one flame, as one community. So it's so wonderful on Shabbat together now, or 8 o'clock, or tomorrow morning at 10, when as a community, we will again kind of keep the flame of our Judaism alive. And we're hoping starting in February that at least once or twice a month, we're going to have a Havdalah service for the children or any families that want to join us. One of our grades already does this, so we'll have to work on our timing. But I thought it would be nice to start not only beginning Shabbat together, but as a community, braiding ourselves together and concluding Shabbat. So stay tuned for an announcement of when our first Havdalah community service will take place. And now, Rabbi, do you have a story for everybody?
I have a great story, and actually it's connected to the idea that you're talking about with the Havdalah candle that were braided together. So this is a story of two friends who were separated from each other and kept connected to each other by sending letters. And you know, some of us might feel a little bit disconnected or lonely, missing our friends or our family members that we're not able to be together with in person right now. But this story actually takes place before cars and cell phones and email and Instagram and all kinds of things that people are now able to use to get in touch with each other and to connect. So this story is about two friends, Josh and Sarah, and they like to do everything together. They studied together, they had inside jokes, they celebrated their holidays with their families and did lots of things together. But one day, Sarah told Josh that she was moving away. And since it was a long time ago, even though she was only moving a few towns away, it felt like she was moving to the other side of the world. They were both sad, and they decided that in order to stay connected, they promised they would write each other letters every week. And so they found a messenger that was willing to carry their letters from one town to the other, from Josh's town to Sarah's town, and from Sarah's town to Josh's town. And each week, Josh would sit down and he would write his message to Sarah, and then he would give it to the messenger who would carry it through the woods from town to town to town until Josh's letter was delivered to Sarah. And then the messenger would wait for Sarah to write her response and take that letter back to Josh. And so it went on like this, week after week, and then year after year. They would never miss a week. Well, one afternoon, many years in, the messenger who was carrying the letters back and forth was so curious that he could no longer help himself. When he was deep into the woods, he sat down and he opened up Josh's letter. He carefully pulled it slowly out of the envelope to not disturb it, and he couldn't wait to see what it was that he had been carrying week after week, year after year, back and forth between Sarah and Josh. But when he opened up the letter, he was surprised to find that the page was blank. There were no words. He turned it over and tried to look to see if there was some kind of secret code that he couldn't understand or couldn't see. And he thought to himself, have I been carrying a blank piece of paper back and forth all these years? Well, there was nothing he could see on the piece of paper, so he folded it back up, he put it back into the envelope, and he carried the letter to Sarah. Later on, walking back to Josh's town with Sarah's response, the messenger couldn't resist. Messenger sat down in the woods and opened up Sarah's letter, hoping to see something different. But that letter too, the paper in it, looked to him completely blank. So when the messenger finally got to Josh's house to deliver Sarah's letter, he decided he had to tell the truth, and he wanted to find out exactly what it was that was going on. He had been carrying these letters for so many years. So he said to Josh, I know it was wrong, and I'm sorry, but I've been doing this for such a long time, and I've been so curious that finally my curiosity got the best of me. But now I wonder what's going on. I think maybe you've been wasting my time. So I hope you'll forgive me, but I have to know, have you been sending blank letters back and forth all this time? Josh looked at the messenger and he was quiet for a minute, and then he said, well, I accept your apology and I understand your curiosity. And even though it was wrong, I forgive you. But I want you to know, you haven't been wasting your time. What you've been doing all these years, it is so, so important to us. It's so important, said the messenger. I've been carrying blank pieces of paper back and forth. How is that important? Oh, no, said Josh. You don't understand. Most weeks, I send regular letters. I write about things that happened during my week. I tell a funny story that I know Sarah would like, and sometimes I write about my worries or things that I think that she would be able to give me good advice on. Usually she does the same, and most weeks, you did carry letters with words and thoughts and ideas. But some weeks, well, I had nothing other to say than that I'm here and we're still connected. And sometimes Sarah knew that's all I needed to hear. So sometimes you did carry a blank letter. But sometimes those blank letters contain the holiest and most profound words of all.
Oh, that's a lovely story. And it's so important now when we're kind of isolated and we're not going to school during the day and parents aren't going out to work or meeting people, and it gets a little bit lonely. And maybe we should start sending blank letters or just that odd text to say, hey, I'm here for you and I care for you. And maybe one of the ways we can do that, and I know we did it so well in school, is when it was someone's birthday, even if the other kids didn't know whose birthday it was, we would wish them a Yom Haledet Sameach, a happy birthday. So maybe today, for all those birthdays we've missed, Rabbi, can we sing happy birthday to all the kids and all the adults who in the past few months have celebrated a birthday without probably having a real birthday party? So please.
Sounds good. Here's to all the birthdays. Yom Haledet Sameach, woo! Yom Haledet Sameach, Yom Haledet Sameach, woo! Yom Haledet Sameach.
So that's a great way to keep connected, to contact people, to phone people, to text them or email them or FaceTime or whatever way we can do that, to tell somebody we're here for one another. And just the way the candles were braided together, we will be braided together. So before we leave, just a reminder that we've started to send out with members of our board and executive these beautiful, beautiful Tu B'Shvat packages. There is soil and seeds and planters and stories and information about ecology and the environment. So every family, hopefully in the next week, will be getting their Tu B'Shvat package. If anybody knows of a family that even isn't part of Solel that may want an extra package, I do have a handful of extra packages. It may mean they have to come to my house to get them, but I do have about half a dozen extra packages if anybody feels there's a family in the community, a child that might like to share Tu B'Shvat, the birthday of the trees, with us. And we just sang happy birthday, so I hope the trees were paying attention as well. And next week, our story is going to be about the other ritual object we use for Havdalah. I mentioned the braided candle, but next week we're going to have a story about the bisamim, the spices, as Ketantan. We haven't told the story about Ketantan for a while, about how Ketantan had to make a spice box for his Hebrew school class. So Rabbi, a song to complete our Kabbalat Shabbat service, please.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Sing with me. Yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, 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 yalai, lai, lai, lai. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Okay, everybody have a safe and healthy week.